Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Happiness Journey with Dr. Dan, where we bring people from all walks of life and we discuss about their own journey to being happy. For some, the definition of happiness varies. For some, it will be actually to be living in a mansion near the ocean and driving multiple cars, and others will prefer longevity and health. So what I do is I bring people into the podcast and I ask them these very typical questions. Like I said in the past, I used to be able to have a TV show called The Happiness Journey with Dr. Dan, where we brought authors into the TV studio and we asked them questions about what was their journey in getting published. But for me, I decided this time around that I'm going to be able to bring in a lot of different people from a lot of different walks of life. But today, I got my first podcast invite or guest. Her name is Linda Bjork. And I'm really, really glad because she's also an author just like me. And she has her own definition in how to be able to teach people how to be happy, which is something that is very commendable. So Linda, welcome to the Happiness Journey. And please take some time to introduce yourself to the viewers.
Oh, I'm so excited to be here. So my name is Linda Bjork, and like yourself, I am a podcast host, and I love being able to talk with people from around the world to help bring quality content that motivates, uplifts, and inspires. I am an author. I've written several books, including Crushed, A Journey Through Depression, and You've Got This, an action plan to calm fear, anxiety, worry, and stress, Pathway to Happiness, 30 Days to a Better Marriage, 30 Days to Alleviate Depression, You Are Good Enough, and I Can Prove It. Most of these titles are available to download for free on the Hope for Healing website at hopeforhealingfoundation.org. And Hope for Healing is the nonprofit that I created to help empower people to become their best selves. So we give the tools and a plan to be able to increase happiness and to improve confidence and self-esteem and relationships, to alleviate feelings of depression and anxiety, and to help people be able to manage stress.
Excellent. So what kind of tools do you use to be able to help people achieve these goals?
That is a fantastic question. So some of the tools that we can use to help us be happy, they sound so small and simple, almost like you might think it's offensive. Like, I have a real problem. I can't believe you're telling me to do something so simple. But through MRI scans, we have proof that when we make changes to the way that we think, the way that we speak, and the way that we act, it actually makes significant measurable changes in our brain chemistry and in our body chemistry. So some of the things that we do are things like gratitude. I know it sounds silly, like, oh, that's just something that happy, smiley kind of people do, but gratitude does incredible things. And there have been so many studies that show how gratitude affects our brain. It actually improves the neuroplasticity of the brain, which means that we're better able to be resilient. We're better able to handle change and to be able to make changes in our lives. It also helps to increase the activity in the prefrontal cortex area of the brain, so we can be more in the present and we can help make better decisions. And it also can help relieve depression and anxiety and help us be happy. One of the studies that I love is they took a group of severely depressed people, and all they asked them to do was to write in a gratitude journal 3 things every day that they were grateful for. And after 15 days, they checked on the participants, and 94% had noticed a significant change. They had gone from severely depressed to either moderately depressed or mildly depressed in only 15 days, doing that one simple action step. So gratitude can do incredible things for the body and for the mind. Another thing that we can use is music. Music has been shown to do incredible things, and our brainwaves actually synchronize somewhat to the rhythm of the music, which is fascinating. We can use this in so many different ways. If we're struggling being motivated, then listening to positive, upbeat music can literally help jumpstart our brain into action and help get us going. That's why people create playlists for jogging, because it really makes a difference. Or if we're struggling with feeling overwhelmed and there's just too much going on, we can use calming music to help literally get our brain waves to calm down so that we're able to think. And if you really want to boost the power, don't just listen to it, sing along. So much research has been done that shows that singing does incredible things to our body and mind. It actually reduces muscle tension, which is crazy. And it also helps increase the neurotransmitters in the brain that help us to be happy. It helps reduce cortisol levels. It does so many things. And one study that was done, again, with a group of people struggling with depression, anxiety, in this, they took a control group and they took another group and they said, control group, just keep doing what you're doing. For the study group, they said, what we want you to do is just sing a song. Just every day, sing a song. And then after 30 days, they checked to see how they were doing. The control group, they were exactly where they were 30 days ago. With the group that had been practicing singing, they had significantly lower levels of depression and anxiety. So these small, simple action steps that sound like, oh, you don't really understand my problem. I have a
Yes.
serious problem. But it literally changes the chemistry in our body. And that is the goal, because as you know, we're talking about happiness here today. And so I've struggled with depression and anxiety. It's not just a matter of snapping out of it. It's not just, oh, let's choose to be happy. There are chemicals. There are chemical reasons why we're happy. And when those neurotransmitters are being received the way that they're supposed to, we have a happy feeling. And when they're blocked, when our hormones are not balanced and those neurotransmitters are not balanced, then even though good things are going on, the happiness feeling isn't inside. And so if we can change, and that's a reason, of course, why we have to go to doctors and we do medication. We've got to get everything back in balance. But the cool thing is that research show that there are also things that we can do ourselves to change and to balance that chemistry in our brains and in our bodies. And that's awesome.
That's absolutely incredible. They call happiness as the science of positive psychology. I read an article about that. And I was really intrigued because it does make sense. Happiness is somewhat of a science because you really have to understand what is going on in your brain, the chemical imbalance for some that have impossibility in achieving happiness because of everything that is going on in their life. And you're right. I mean, if you're properly medicated, it will help you to be able to kind of put somewhat of a band-aid on the symptoms that you're experiencing. But in other cases, if you go holistically, such as meditation, and I know a lot of people, they cannot really understand the process of meditation. And I help a lot of my patients to be able to find one quick solution, because a lot of people, as you may know as well, Linda, no one has the time to sit down for 5, 10, 15 minutes, close their eyes, and not think about anything. It's almost mission impossible, and without the Tom Cruise. But the thing is when you look at how easy it can be, you have to take it step by step, as you mentioned before, baby steps. And the thing is that what I recommend, and maybe you can use this for your Hope website, is you basically, depending on what problem the person experiences. So let's say we'll take the example of self-esteem, which is very, very common now, or lack of self-esteem. So you basically figure out what are the positive affirmation that will help your brain start implementing positive messages so you could start believing in yourself, believing in who you are as an individual. But it's not doing it in the middle of the day or the morning or mid-afternoon. It's doing it when you fall asleep. And here's what's going on. Consciousness shuts down when you actually go into the deep sleep. And what kicks in is subconscious. And what happens then is this subconsciousness records everything that you have in your mind or whatever information is being fed. But at night, you cannot combine consciousness and subconsciousness. That's the tricky part. This is what Albert Einstein was able to do. And this is why he was able to utilize 40% of his brain capacity versus us, the normal human beings, which we could only use between 8 to 12% at best. So what happens is that when you listen to messages, and it has to be your voice, so you record those positive affirmation, you put it into your little iPad or iPod, whatever it is, and you let it run all through the night. That in itself, your brain will hear your own voice, which is going to be much better than hearing a voice from YouTube. And then that in itself, when you wake up in the morning, your subconscious mind was able to record only positive information and not the crap that you watch on TV and the news right before you go to sleep. And this is why people wake up depressed or anxious, is because of all the nasty fake information that is online or on the news. And this is what I feel that may be a better step forward for people to start acclimating themselves into meditation.
I think that is absolutely brilliant for so many reasons. One, I love the idea that you're working directly with the subconscious because that is so amazing. Our conscious mind, we have a tendency to kind of block things. There is a phenomenon, it's called the mere exposure effect. And research shows that we have a tendency to believe things that we hear over and over again. And it doesn't matter if it's true, it doesn't matter anything. It just matters if we hear over and over again, our brains just accept it. And then the flip side of that is once we believe something, whether or not it's true, then subconsciously we defend and protect those beliefs. So, how many of us in our self talk do we say things like, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm too fat, I'm too ugly, I'm too this, I'm not enough that, over and over and over again? Well, guess what? You keep saying those things and you keep hearing those things, you're going to believe it,
Yes.
whether or not it is true. And then once you believe it, subconsciously we say, okay, we're now going to protect this belief. And so if you try to say something like, I am good enough and I can do things and I, all your reflex is just, no, it's not. No, it's not. Don't you remember I'm not good enough? Don't you remember that my life is miserable? And so it's tricky to be able to work past that. So using that principle of repetition, and it's so clever to do it while you're sleeping, that is going to help to retrain, because once you get those positive things over and over and try to kind of start over and erase the negative things, then you will believe, hey, I am good enough and my life is beautiful and I am happy and look at all these wonderful things I have. So I just think I'm impressed. I think that's great.
Thank you very much, Linda. But you see, this is the best part is that brainstorming with another expert in happiness allows people to be able to feel that, okay, this is not just one perception on how to achieve happiness. It is actually shared by many. And when you look at what's going on with also another strategy that I always encourage people to do, and I'm sure that you've already given this advice, is putting post-it notes all around the house and on those, because some people are more visual than listening or hearing. So they would rather see a note to say, I'm great, or I am confident, or I'm this. And when, let's say you brush your teeth at night or in the morning, you wake up, you see this message in the mirror of your bathroom or whatever it is. So anything that can help you perceive yourself differently and in a more positive note, that can help you somewhat achieve happiness. Now, this is not the sole solution or the only way to make it happen. But again, these are just little steps to be able to take to be able to get to that path or to be able to achieve that destination, if you want to call happiness a destination. But what's really make it fun is that you enjoy the journey. Because what
I
I've noticed is a lot of people, when they achieve happiness, when they get to their destination, they say to themselves, what's next? So they never have taken the time to really pat themselves on the shoulder to say, you know what, I've achieved greatness. I should take some time to be able to savor it, to enjoy it. But no, it's just like bouncing from one tree to the other like a monkey.
I think I choose not to be a monkey, but
There
I
you
like
go.
so many things that you said about the different ideas that some people learn visually and some people learn audibly. And so what I love to do, and this is what I have on my Hope for Healing website, is so many tools, so many things that we can learn and do to help put ourselves in a good place, change that chemistry in our body. So we can create our own personal little tool belt, because maybe I love meditation and I hate singing, or maybe I love this and I don't like this. That's okay. It is okay that you don't like every tool, because there's going to be something available that's going to work for you. And using a bunch of different sources is going to help create a thing. I also loved when you're talking about happiness, and these things that you're suggesting that we're working on the inside. And many people have the idea that happiness comes from the outside
Correct.
in. Happiness comes when I am thinner, after I lose that 10 pounds. Happiness comes after I make this particular amount of money, or I have this kind of house, or when I drive this kind of car, or when I'm accepted by this particular group. When those things, when I can check those boxes, then I will be happy. And the truth is, like you said, even when people reach those milestones, they're not actually happy inside.
Mhm.
Happiness comes from the inside out. We can live in the exact same set of circumstances and be happy or not be happy. And that's kind of the magic. It gives us some power that we
Mhm.
get to be in charge of our happiness, but it also gives some responsibility that we have to do something on the inside. And some people don't want that responsibility, and that's okay. But in order to find that true joy, it really does need to come from the inside out.
Wow, that's really profound, Linda. I mean, there's a few things that you said, a few words, is that the word responsibility. A lot of people have difficulty in understanding, why am I responsible for the action of my own life? They just love pointing fingers at everybody else, saying because of him or her that I didn't accomplish this or I didn't accomplish that. They really don't assume the reality of who they are as a human being, and they just love to just put it on somebody else, on saying that it's because of him. But if something great happens, oh, that thanks to me. They never really, there's no balance. It's like, okay, well, you know what? Either you go all the way or you don't go at all. And you don't start blaming others or whatever, like the Rocky Balboa, the speech that he gave to his son, or the fifth movie, that was really profound. It's like he always felt that, it's not because the things doesn't happen in your life that it is not your responsibility. It's all on you. If you want to achieve greatness, take the risk to put yourself out there and make it happen. But don't start pointing fingers at him or her or anybody else because you didn't achieve your goals. This cowards do this, but that's not him. And that was the speech basically. And well, of course, not verbatim, but you see what I mean. But overall, what I feel and what you said was really deep. And I think it probably will affect many people in a very positive and negative way. The positive is because you spoke reality, you spoke the truth. But in the bad way is because people don't want to hear that,
Mm-mm.
because they want to find an escape code. They want to find another reason as to why things didn't happen the way they wanted because of an external factor that occur in their life. Now, yes, of course, if you add medical illnesses and stuff like that, yes, of course, if someone has difficulty in their life, marital or their health, whatever it is, it's hard to be able to achieve their professional goals. I completely get that, but will that stop you for the rest of your life? So focus on what you need to do today, get this done, make it happen, and then move on to the next one. Move on to the other goal that you've set yourself to achieve. And this is what really the happiness is all about. And actually, there's a guy on YouTube. He has like over 50 million followers. His name is Prince Ea, EA, and he said that he went to go visit a hospice, and he spoke to the people who were about to really, I would say, decease, and he asked them, what do you regret the most in life? And 98% of them said, I don't regret the things I did, but I regret the things that I didn't do, which was really profound because, yes, there's a lot of things that you did in life which you may have made a lot of mistakes, and we all make mistakes, but it is the thing that you didn't do. And the thing that you didn't do is because it was associated with fear. And fear is something that you construct in your own mind. Now, the acronym FEAR, false expectation appearing real, may appear to be real to you, but the reality is that it's just something that you put up as a facade to avoid helping you accomplishing your goals. And that's what fear is. It's all about excuses.
And that doesn't sound very comforting when you're in a place of fear.
Mhm.
And fear is something that I've talked about and thought about. I've heard it said, the question of what is on the other side of fear. And the answer is everything you've ever wanted.
Mhm.
And I wrote a book called You Got This, an action plan to calm fear, anxiety, worry, and stress, because those feelings are so, so, so very real. And we talk about maybe the idea of, I don't want to be afraid anymore. So, how do I get from where I am to not being afraid? And this book is about those small, simple action steps to help build us up from the inside out so that we can be able to handle our problems and be able to be resilient because things happen. Some people think that being able to be, say, depressed is like, I earned this because I experienced X, Y, and Z. And I have talked to people from around the world who have experienced incredibly horrible, horrible things and have been able to come out of it and to be happy. Things like abuse, things like cancer, things like having their son murdered. I mean, really, really big things. And even through all of the experiences that we have, there is still a way to be able to be resilient, to be happy, to be confident, to be at peace. When we are fearful, we can't have inner peace. We have to be able to address it. And it's so interesting that regardless of what is going on in the world, again, that lack of fear doesn't come from the outside in, it's from the inside out. And we can be at peace regardless of our external circumstances. Viktor Frankl, in his book, Man's Search for Meaning, he talked about if you have a why to live, you can deal with any how. If we have a purpose in our life, we can make it through whatever circumstances happen to be going on. And that's incredibly empowering because right now there are a lot of people who feel fearful and uncertain. And we can't solve the world. I can't solve a pandemic. I can't solve outside things, but I can work on inside things.
Wow, that's definite. And the one thing as well, Linda, that you did mention a little bit earlier is that the reason when it comes to fear, the people fear the unknown. They forget to live their life mindfully. They are afraid of the past, which is something that they cannot change. So whatever they did in the past is set. Nothing you could do to just press the rewind button or jump into a DeLorean time machine and go back into the past to be able to fix those issues, nor the future is not guaranteed. We don't know if we're going to wake up the next morning and something bad is going to happen or it's going to be the end of our lives. So what we need to do is live today mindfully. And a lot of people have that difficulty because we always have the tendency to feel like, when you remember with the pandemic, where they were talking about like the toilet paper, depletion in every store. You saw people buying 5,000 rolls of toilet paper. I mean, seriously, it's like I understand that you may run out, but there's other ways to be able to, be hygienic. But but the thing is that they always say, okay, they act in the moment for a future that is not guaranteed, for a future that is uncertain. So again, they act by fear, and their behavior pushes them to act irrationally. So again, all this has a direct correlation on the way that you feel and what actions you're going to be able to take from this point forward. But never forget to live into the present. And that's the message that the science of happiness should disclose to people, because every day you're going to feel different. You're going to feel ups and down, just like an electrocardiogram. You remember, if it's a flat line, you're dead. The heart beats, the systolic and diastolic pressure, it goes up and down, up and down. And this is what is a sign of life, just like life in general. It's a roller coaster. You're always going to be some high and you're going to have some down. I mean, all the very wealthy and successful people in the world, do you think they never experience failure? Absolutely not. They all had to go through what you go through. The only difference is they did not give up.
Ooh, that is some pretty good advice, is the not giving up. I have when you talk about these people, it seems like they don't have any problems when really they do. But we
Multiplied.
compare ourselves to people and we look at their highlight reel and compare it with our blooper reel. It's like, oh, I can't do this and I can't do that. So we assume, well, they're gifted and so they get all the things and I have to stay here, without realizing that bigger picture of no, the experiences of being a human are the same.
Correct.
We all have ups and we all have downs. And that is the way it is. And it is how we respond to those downs. Are we resilient? Are we like a rubber ball? Or are we like an egg that falls and then just falls apart? So we get to choose if we're Humpty Dumpty or if we're going to work ourselves back up into something joyful again.
Well, that's so true. So now for our main question, what is your definition of happiness, Linda? What do you feel that brings you or makes you wake up every morning with a big smile on your face and ready to tackle the day?
Oh, one of the things we talked about today is happiness comes from the inside out. So I'm going to share some wonderful things from the outside that make me happy, but
Mhm.
from my personal experience of experiencing even those things when I was not in a good place, I wasn't happy. And so we have to work on the inside. That makes a big difference. But for me, things that I love simple pleasures in life. And I love my relationships. So for me, I love being outside. I love seeing nature. I love riding my bike. I love spending time with my husband and my kids and my grandkids. And I love something simple like sitting on a porch swing and eating a delicious bowl of Rocky Road ice cream. So I love being healthy. I love being happy. And I love meeting awesome people like yourself.
Well, thank you so much, Linda. Again, it was an honor for me to have you as our first guest in the podcast of the Happiness Journey. And if you don't mind, just telling us the website where people can actually access the tools to be able to get them to achieve somewhat of a sense of happiness, if you don't mind.
Oh, I'd be delighted. It is hopeforhealingfoundation.org.
Okay. And the name of your books and where can they be found?
Okay, my books are Crushed, A Journey Through Depression, You Got This, An Action Plan to Calm Fear, Anxiety, Worry, and Stress, Pathway to Happiness, 30 Days to a Better Marriage, 30 Days to Alleviate Depression, and You Are Good Enough, and I Can Prove It. So all of them are available on Amazon.
Okay.
Most of the books that I have listed are also available to download for free on the Hope for Healing website. Again, that is at hopeforhealingfoundation.org.
Can they be read on Kindle or Nook, or is it just mostly like a PDF file that they could download?
PDF if you choose to get it through the Hope for Healing, but it is available as an ebook on Amazon as well.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, Linda, thank you so much for being a part of our podcast today. Again, your suggestion, your advice definitely will help a lot of people be grounded, understand what it takes to be able to be happy, and whatever they need to do from this point forward, they have to assume responsibility of their own action and be able to take assertive action to be able to achieve their goals. So again, thank you so much for being a part of the happiness journey. And again, Linda, you're the best, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Dr. Dan. It's been a